You think you know an INFJ, huh? Think again. I'm telling you, test them and you're going to see a side of them you never thought was possible. And trust me, it ain't pretty. INFJs, they're a rare breed. Their empathy, it runs deep. And their intuition, forget about it. It's almost freaky. But there's a hidden power beneath that calm, collected exterior, see? A power you don't want to provoke, because when you test an INFJ, you're not just testing their patience, you're testing their very core. And that, my friend, is a dangerous game. So if you ever cross that line, buckle up, because you're in for a ride. So check this out. The INFJ, they will ice you out completely. Ever tested an INFJ? Here's the harsh truth. They vanish without warning, no explanation, just gone. And once they're out, there's no coming back. Let me break it down for you. INFJs are not your typical emotional roller coaster. They don't explode, they don't argue for hours. No, their response to being tested, disrespected, or betrayed is far more devastating. They simply disappear from your life. No drama, no begging for attention. They will shut down emotionally, and when they do, they're shutting the door to you, and you might never get the key back. You see, INFJs value trust like nothing else. They crave deep, authentic connections, and the moment you breach that trust, whether through betrayal or manipulation, they make a choice. It's not even about cutting you off to punish you. It's about their own self-preservation. They will protect themselves by putting a wall between you and them. It's not about being cruel, it's about protecting their peace. And here's the kicker. When they do this, it's not always a reaction. It's a decision. And once they make it, they'll never look back. They may still be polite on the surface, but don't mistake that for closeness. INFJs can be civil with you while holding the emotional distance of an entire ocean. So here's the reality. Once an INFJ shuts you out, you're on the outside. And no matter how much you beg, apologize, or plead, they won't let you back in easily, if at all. You might get a polite reply, but you'll never feel the warmth again. Testing an INFJ isn't just about getting on their bad side, it's about shutting down the chance for any future connection. So, if you care about keeping them in your life, stop playing games. You don't want to be the one who pushed them to the point where the door is closed for good. All right, secondly, an INFJ's compassion turns icy. INFJs are the most compassionate people you'll ever meet, but push them too far, and that warm heart, it'll freeze over. And once it's cold, good luck thawing it out. You think an INFJ's heart is endless, that their compassion has no limits? Think again. They will carry your burdens, listen to your problems, and offer you a shoulder to cry on, no questions asked. But here's where the line is drawn. Test them, betray their trust, or push them too far, and you will see a shift that'll leave you in shock. INFJs don't lash out emotionally. They don't throw tantrums or scream. No, they quietly withdraw their empathy one layer at a time. It's not a dramatic shift, but it's devastating. They'll start to treat you with a quiet indifference that cuts deeper than any harsh words could. No more advice, no more listening, no more care. All of that compassion you took for granted, gone. And it's not because they stopped caring, it's because they've chosen not to care. You see, INFJs are not people pleasers. They are deep thinkers who give their emotional energy carefully. When they see someone has tested their limits, they stop investing in that relationship. It's a defense mechanism, a way of protecting themselves from further emotional harm. It's like turning off a switch, but once it's flipped, you'll feel it. So, what happens next? You might still try to connect, but you won't get the warmth, the kindness, or the understanding you once had. Instead, you'll be met with a cold, distant version of the INFJ, someone who's emotionally detached and no longer willing to sacrifice their peace for you. Understand this. When you test an INFJ, you're not just risking their anger, you're risking their ability to care, and that is a loss you won't easily recover from. If you want to keep an INFJ in your life, protect their heart. It's rare, it's valuable, and once it's gone cold, it's almost impossible to reignite.
Thirdly, brace yourself, because they will confront you with some uncomfortable truths.
You think you're fully an INFJ? Think again. When you test them, they won't hesitate to drop a truth bomb that'll leave you speechless, whether you're ready for it or not. INFJs are some of the most insightful people you'll ever meet. They see through you, your insecurities, your motives, your hidden fears. They catch it all, even when you think you've got them fooled. They don't need to dig for this information. It's just how their mind works. They read people the way most of us read a book. And here's the thing, if you test them, they won't hold back. They'll confront you with the hard truth and they won't care if it makes you uncomfortable. Now, this isn't the typical call-you-out behavior you might expect from others. INFJs don't like drama, they won't yell, they won't try to humiliate you, but what they will do is hit you with raw, unfiltered honesty about your behavior, your mistakes, or your blind spots. And trust me, it will sting. For example, let's say you've been stringing them along, playing games with their emotions. You think they don't notice? Wrong. They'll call you out, gently but firmly, and they'll do it in a way that exposes your flaws, whether it's how you've been manipulative, dishonest, or emotionally unavailable. INFJs will say what no one else dares to say. They'll reveal the truth you've been hiding from, and it'll leave you feeling exposed, vulnerable, and powerless. But here's the real kicker. You won't be able to argue with them. INFJs don't make accusations out of malice. They speak from a place of understanding. They see through your mask. And when you've been tested, they will make you face the very truth you were trying to avoid. So here's the deal. If you're not ready to confront yourself, don't test an INFJ. They'll make you face parts of yourself that you'd rather keep hidden. And once they do, you'll never look at yourself the same way again.
All right, so fourth thing. INFJs, they got this hidden fury, see, that you do not want to mess with. You think you know an INFJ? You think they're calm, collected, and always in control? Wait until you push them too far. When an INFJ's fury is unleashed, it's not a storm, it's a tsunami that'll leave you drowning in regret. INFJs have a reputation for being calm, peaceful, and reserved. They are the ones who listen to your problems with patience, who offer advice with kindness, and who avoid conflict at all costs. But here's the secret that no one talks about. Underneath that calm exterior lies a storm. And when you test them, when you cross that line, you're not just poking a bear, you're awakening a fury you never knew existed. INFJs don't lash out impulsively. They don't scream or throw tantrums. No, they hold everything in. They bottle up their anger, their frustration, and their resentment because they genuinely want to avoid confrontation. They believe in peace and harmony, and they hate to disrupt it. But that doesn't mean it's not building up inside them. It's like a slow burn. They'll take your disrespect, your manipulation, and your emotional games with a calm demeanor until they reach their breaking point. And once they do, it's not an explosion. It's more like a calculated strike. They will cut you off emotionally, detach themselves from the situation, and deliver a quiet, devastating truth that will hit harder than any shouting match could. They'll expose your flaws with a precision that stings, and they'll do it without raising their voice. That quiet, controlled fury is what makes an INFJ's anger so dangerous. It's not messy, it's not dramatic, it's surgical, and it leaves no room for doubt about who's in control. Here's the thing. When an INFJ is pushed beyond their limit, they are not the person you once knew. The anger that's been simmering inside them will have changed them. They'll stop caring about your feelings, and they'll stop holding back. They may even start distancing themselves in a way that's emotionally permanent. They'll protect themselves at all costs, and you'll be left wondering where the person you once knew went. 2, don't test an INFJ's patience. They are not the type to explode in a fit of rage, but once their fury is triggered, they will shut you out, and you won't be able to fix it. Their calm is not a weakness, it's their power, and once it breaks, there's no going back. Fifthly, the INFJ, they'll ghost you, for good. You think an INFJ will always come back? Think again. Once they've decided you're not worth their time anymore, you'll never see them the same way again. And believe me, you'll feel that distance. INFJs are not the type of people who make impulsive decisions when it comes to relationships. They are deep thinkers. They value connections that are meaningful and lasting, and they invest a lot of emotional energy into those they care about. But here's the kicker. If you betray their trust or push them too far, they will distance themselves from you. And it will be the most subtle, yet powerful separation you've ever experienced. INFJs don't like to make a scene. They don't need to tell you that they're done. They won't make a big dramatic exit. Instead, they will slowly start to fade out of your life, emotionally and physically. It might start with small things. They'll stop responding to your messages as quickly. They'll cancel plans, or seem distracted when you're together. And just like that, the distance grows, inch by inch, until you realize that the person you once had an emotional bond with is no longer there. But here's where it gets brutal. You won't get a second chance. INFJs don't give ultimatums. They don't do drama. They simply choose to cut the emotional cord. Once they make that decision, they rarely, if ever, look back. They're not going to waste their time trying to fix a broken connection. They're just going to move on, and it's going to feel like a cold, silent goodbye. They may still be cordial if you cross paths, but that's it. The warmth, the understanding, the empathy that they once showed you, gone. What you'll get instead is a polite stranger who's no longer emotionally invested in your life. And that's something you can't take back. Once an INFJ pulls away, it's a permanent shift. And trying to bring them back is like trying to glue shattered glass together. It won't work. And it will hurt even more. INFJ. So, here's the reality. If you push an INFJ too far, don't expect them to fight for the relationship. Don't expect them to beg you to stay. They won't. They'll just silently pull away, and you'll be left wondering how it all slipped through your fingers. If you care about keeping an INFJ in your life, show them respect and loyalty. Once they decide to distance themselves, it's your loss, forever.
Sixthly, you'll see the strategic mastermind side of them. You think you're outsmarting an INFJ? Think again. When you push them too far, you're not just dealing with their emotions. You're stepping into the mind of a strategist who's 10 steps ahead of you. And trust me, you'll lose. INFJs may seem like dreamers or deep thinkers, but here's the secret you need to understand. They are master strategists. They don't just live in the moment. They see patterns, they predict outcomes, and they've been quietly observing you, waiting for the right moment to act. When you test them, you're not dealing with someone who will lash out impulsively. You're dealing with a person who is constantly calculating their next move. You see, INFJs are incredibly intuitive. They read people like open books. So when you try to manipulate, lie, or test them, they don't just react, they analyze. They will step back, assess the situation, and think about how to handle it with precision. They'll gather information, evaluate your weaknesses, and then, without you even knowing it, they'll make their move. It won't be immediate. It will be well-planned, carefully executed, and you won't see it coming. INFJs understand human nature better than most people realize. They know how to use your emotions, your desires, and your fears against you without you ever knowing. They can maneuver through conversations, situations, and relationships with a quiet, almost eerie level of skill. And when they strike, it's often not in an overt way. They'll say the right thing at the right time, drop the perfect piece of advice, or make the most subtle move that completely changes the dynamic. It's a chess game, and you're playing checkers. This ability to strategize isn't about revenge, it's about control. INFJs, at their core, value emotional balance and harmony. When they feel tested, they will regain control of the situation. And in doing so, they'll ensure they never feel vulnerable again. They don't get caught up in the mess. They handle it with grace, intelligence, and a level of calm you can't imitate. So here's the wake-up call. Stop thinking you can outmaneuver an INFJ. They are always 3 steps ahead of you. When you push them too far, you're stepping into a game you're not prepared to win. You'll be left wondering how they outsmarted you and why you never saw it coming.